Welcome to the Hookup. My name is Crochet Me Zaddy, your host and fellow craft enthusiast, and this is your weekly dose of crafty conversations with your favorite crafty content creators. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hookup. I'm your host Crochet Me Zaddy, and here we are with a new resident guest. We have Annie from Hookandheelers. Welcome along.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time.
Hooray! It is a pleasure to have you here. We are going to do another double episode feature with Annie here, and we are going to get to know Annie in the first episode, and then we're going to come back again and talk a bit about our special topic, which is going to be YouTube and things about YouTube. So let's get right into it. Let's hear about you. So where did this all begin? Where did you start crafting? What is your creation story?
Oh man, where do I begin? Well, I've always kind of done like all sorts of different things. Like I remember I was really into like knitting on a loom like when I was a kid. And then really like the whole crochet thing started for me like in 2018, I think. And it was around that time my husband and I were dating at the time, but he went to like military training. And so we couldn't talk or anything. So I was like, I'm so bored. Like I need to do something. And then I went to Michael's and I just bought like yarn and a crochet hook, and like that was pretty much that. And then I kind of just I made a giant circle, and then it got bigger and bigger, and then it like filled up my entire car. And then now I'm here. So
that was the entire story. Is that you started as a kid on a loom, and then you got bored when your then boyfriend went away.
Basically I was just sad. It was a coping mechanism, let's say, crocheting. So I started out like crocheting, just like I said, like a giant circle. It's like a beanie gone wrong, is like my friends and I like to call it. It was just like literally, I wish I had a picture of it. I just made this like giant circle thing.
For what?
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. I just was like, wow, I'm doing it. And so I just kept going, and it was just like a giant circle, and I just did not stop because I thought like if I stop, like I'm never gonna be able to figure it out again. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I just could figure out that like knew how to make a circle bigger, like your face.
I'm like I like that. It's just like, what was it actually a project in mind, or was it just like I'm gonna keep making this circle?
No, I'm pretty sure it's like a Bella Coco tutorial. And then I was like, oh, if I keep on doing this, like, okay, now I space it out like an extra stitch and then increase, it just keeps getting bigger. And so I did that. And it was like a really ugly, like teal color, like Red Heart Super Saver or something. And then from there, I kind of like started making like baskets and like blankets and pretty much everything besides amigurumi. And then that was like the last thing I did in the past 2 years or so. So it's been a journey.
That was wild. I like that your first, like, did you not have a project in mind? Were you just like, I'm gonna make a circle?
Yeah, like one of my friends is like, girl, like you need to do something, like you need a hobby or something, like you're a mess. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to crochet. So I went and did that, and I literally just looked up a Bella Coco tutorial on YouTube. I don't know if you've heard of her, probably have.
No, that's where I started.
Yeah, she's like amazing.
Stan.
Yes, I know. I don't know. And I just kind of like was watching a tutorial on how to make a circle, and then just got carried away. So I don't know. Why I didn't start with the project. It just kind of was like, okay, that's what I'm doing. So
normally everyone starts with like a granny square, or maybe like they do like I taught my friends the other night how to crochet. We did like a little craft night with the boys, and we did like I taught them how to chain and then like go back on the chain and then back and forth, and so they're just making like a little square. Like,
oh my gosh,
it's
really funny you say that, because like last night I had a bunch of my friends over and they all wanted to learn how to crochet, and so I was like, oh yeah, like I can teach you guys. And it was like way harder than I thought it was going to be. There are also like 8 of them, but I was like, wow, like I couldn't even teach you guys how to do a magic ring or anything. Like it was really hard. But we pulled up Bella Coco because obviously. I
had the same feeling of being like, I honestly don't know if I know how to teach you. Like I can teach you maybe like one-on-one, but all of you need help. So
I think it's like It's like so much pressure because they're like, don't you do this like on YouTube and stuff and you like sell patterns? And I'm like, yeah, well, like it's not the same thing. And they're all holding it like weird. And like, then I'm like forgetting how to even do it because it's like mindless at this point. So it was a very humbling experience, basically.
It's like also yeah, when you're like you just it's like very much like Schitt's Creek with like you just fold it in, like
Fold in
fold
the
in the cheese. Yeah, I
cheese.
was just like you just hold the yarn. Just
You just
kind of
chain.
wrap it. Yeah. Just wrap it around your hand
I
and you
know.
just do it.
Yeah, and they're like, what are you talking about? So yeah, basically, I don't think any of them ended up making anything because I'm an awful teacher. So it's way harder than I thought it would be. Like,
Well, because that was the other thing. Is like we're out of my three friends, we had one who he got like right away, and he was like back and forth, made a little square, and we are like, nice, slay.
yes.
And then another friend, he took a moment, and then he got like the chain going, and he's like, oh my god, got it! Like I can do a chain. And the other friend was just like, it wasn't that he couldn't do the chain; it was just that there was a struggle with the tension.
Yes.
And so he was just like either like super tense, and then it was just like, and then would like somehow like twist it round and then bring it back through again. And I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but it's like we're all in our own journeys.
Yeah, you're like that was what was hard for me. Is like trying to figure out how to tell them what they did wrong and like explain. Yeah, I'm not good at it.
Well, also without making them feel bad because they're like, I'm bad at this, and you're like, no, you're not. Like we're all trying.
I know, right? Yeah, and that's what I was telling them. Like, it literally took me like a month to figure out my like giant circle thing that I was telling you about. Like, I was just sitting there and I was like, I can't do this. Like, what is this? And then eventually I just started making it and I got carried away because I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it.
I mean, if just to relate to you, I did a Bella Coco granny square tutorial, and then I made grannies like literally that same square. I made so many of them, and I did that for about 2 years, and that was my intro to crochet. It was just like, just make a little square, like over and over, different colors. So they're all in a bag in New Zealand somewhere.
You need to make like a cardigan or a blanket out of them.
I started making a blanket and then I didn't like the yarn.
Yeah, that's fair. And honestly, like joining it up, joining granny squares, that's why I just do plushies now.
So
it's just
we don't touch the granny squares anymore.
Nope. I don't have the attention span. That's what it really came down to for me. Like I loved doing like all that stuff, but I just feel like it takes so much longer. And same with like I like making like cardigans and stuff, but it just takes forever and then I leave it in my closet and I never touch it again. So
no, I feel you. Yeah, it just there's something about those longer projects that makes like plushies just seem like worthwhile. Like I have to find like the sweet spot between not too quick, because like I mean I'm making like all these like cute little like the half an hour patterns.
Yeah, they're so cute.
But then like
little kitties.
But then like even these like although I love them, they're also just like too quick for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to do a bit more.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I feel like most of your patterns are like a really good like one sitting type of size, like all of your plushies, and that's like my favorite type of size. I feel like even though mine are like some mine are a lot smaller, but like even if it's not like a one sitting project, I feel like I like turn it into one when I'm doing plushies. Like I don't know why, I just like to finish it all at once, even if I'm like stressing myself out. So
staying up until 3 a.m.
Literally.
But going back there, sorry, you said you were looming you were a looming child. No, you were.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about that? Like, were you once again also just bored one day and you were like, let's work this out?
Basically, I know you've been to the US, but you probably know Michael's is a craft store over here, and I lived like right next to one, and so I was just like always in there, and I was like, oh, what's this thing? Okay, and then I bought it, and it was like, I think it was like a rectangle loom for making scarves and stuff, and so I did that one time, and then I was just like, I'm good, like that was fine. So I did that when I was younger, but that was like my first experience, I guess, with it. Another thing I actually forgot to say, that like my hyper fixation all throughout middle school was making friendship bracelets. That was like, I love friendship bracelets. I still have all the embroidery floss. It's so good.
We did
and like
the same. We had everyone on the school bus going because we lived like half an hour out of the town city we were in, and everyone got into friendship bracelets, and we all had them all like safety pinned on the back of the bus seats, and we were all just like
Yes.
working
Wait,
at
that's
them.
so fun.
Yeah, it
Yes,
was cute.
like, and I think the website's called like Bracelet Book or something, and it has like all the different kind of like patterns, I guess, that you can use for them. And I was like obsessed with One Direction, so I'd make like all these like One Direction themed friendship bracelets. So yeah, I feel like that was like my start into fiber arts.
Yep. So
And
you did
yours
have
too,
like
sounds like.
yeah, somewhat. I mean, I used to cross stitch when I was like 7 years old with mum. That was like
That's
my
so fun.
intro to crafts, is that would be sitting on the couch like watching TV. I don't think I ever finished a cross stitch project, but I like loved it.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of that too, or just like hand embroidery, but I just like all of it pretty much now.
Whenever I needed to change color or anything, I had to pass it back to mum to figure it out for me because I didn't
You're
know what I
like,
was
take
doing.
care.
Yeah, I
You
was
do
like,
this.
can you start it again? Like,
Like, mom.
yeah, it was honestly that. I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, not willing to even learn. Just like pass it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh my.
so you crocheted a giant circle,
Yeah.
and then you started making, bags and scarves. But this
Yeah.
is around the same time as knowing how to knit, or
No, so I
crochet.
think around that time, I feel like I've gone through like multiple periods with like crochet where like I stopped for a little bit and then I started and now I'm like crazy about it, obviously. But around that time, I tried to learn how to knit and I was like, like, nope, nope, nope. And then it was so bad that it made me never want to try again up until recently. So I just learned in like January and now I'm obsessed with it, like equally with crochet at this point. It's so much fun. So, except only socks.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're constantly making socks. That's like
Yep, that's it.
when I say like you know how to knit, okay, you know how to make socks.
Yeah, so yeah, if you were like, "Oh, knit me this," I'd be like, I can make you a sock." Like that's all I do. But it's fun now because now I can kind of do it mindlessly. So that's like my little knit safety project.
No, I feel
So,
you. Like, because I'm just like much the same with learning how to knit. I was like, this project is bad, and I don't want to learn how to do this. Like, I am bad at knitting, which is like literally how I would have started with crochet as well. Being like, I am bad at this. I don't want to do this. Like, same as the threads. Like, I just want to step back. And now that I've learned
yeah.
how to knit, I'm like, let's see what we can
Yeah.
do.
Because didn't you like knit a top, didn't you? I want to say like a while back. Or was it crochet?
The one that was like, I made a like.
It was like a
somewhere.
green and brown or something. I feel like I remember seeing you. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Look
It's
what I
right
prepared
there.
earlier. This one. It was supposed to be like a vest, and then it ended up being like way too small.
Well, it looks
And so
good though.
like
I mean, that's better
this is
than I
where
could do.
well, it ended up being like a tank top. But the thing is, I realized after doing this project is that like a lot of the knitting patterns for like female body shapes, and so they account for
Oh,
like the bust and kind of it's just like the shaping with especially with the
yeah.
straps over the shoulders as well. Like this is another thing having the partner working in clothing retail stuff. He was like telling me about like the different sizes of straps like for different body types and whatnot.
Yeah.
He's like that's for a female figure, and I was like,
You're like, darn. Thanks for telling me now that I
yeah.
finished it.
Yeah, I was like, I thought clothing was unisex, but I guess there's like just depends on your body shape.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Oh my
that
gosh,
one
that's
did
annoying.
not account for my masculine shoulders and whatnot. Hello, friends. Just going to interrupt this episode here with a quick word from our sponsors, aka ourselves, and a message that was most definitely not written on ChatGPT to help
Oh.
advertise who we are and what we do. Yeah, let's begin. Hey there, crochet fanatics. Are you ready to get knotted up in a world of yarntastic fun?
You bet. Dive into the magical world of crochet with us on YouTube, whether you're just starting a whether you're I'm sorry, I'm so
You can do it. Keep going.
whether you're just starting or a crochet wizard, we've got a spellbinding offer for you.
And that's not all. Follow us on social media for a daily dose of yarnspiration, sneak peeks, and so much more. Join our fabulous, fun-filled communities of crafters.
hold on to your hooks. We've got an exclusive dazzling crochet. We have exclusive dazzling crochet patterns that will make your projects truly sparkle. Use code the hookup on either of our websites to get 10% off our patterns.
So what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our Patreons, and follow us on social media today. Let's weave some crochet magic together.
Happy crocheting, yarn lovers.
Yay! Anyway, let's go back again. So crochet, knitting. When did you start the social media kind of style of things? Or was that, or even a business, or was that even an intention?
No. So I first started like my actual Hooks and Healers Instagram account in 2020, and I posted like 4 things, and I think they're still on there. They're just like a mess. Like I just was posting stuff because I was like, wow, like I don't know, it's 2020 and like the world is weird, so I'm just gonna start posting this. And then I stopped after like 4 posts, and I don't know. After that, okay, so then I kind of stopped again, and then I started sewing. And so for a while, Hooks and Healers was actually dog bandanas on Etsy. So I did that for a little bit. That was like 6 months after that. It's like 2021. And then at the time, I didn't really know much. So I was like totally underpricing myself and charging like $4 for these bandanas that were taking me forever. So naturally, I was just burnt out and like hated everything. So that didn't last very long. And then, yeah. And so I think I've like told you this before, but then I was working like as a bartender and stuff. So like I was just so busy that I never was crocheting anymore. And then I'm trying to think of like when everything started again. So my husband and I moved across the country, and he was about to go on like a big deployment. So I had a period of time where I was like not working for like 3 months, which was like so nice, just moving and everything. And I was like, like toying around with the idea of like starting a website or something and like putting crochet patterns on it. So I was like, now is the time if I'm going to do it. And so that's basically what I did. And that was a year and a half ago or something. And then pretty much since then, I think I could have the timeline a little bit wrong. I've just been posting, and initially my goal was like just to do patterns and like not show my face, not have to talk to a camera, because that was like my worst nightmare, which is like really funny because now like that's like all that I do now. So I feel like that's kind of just how it evolves. Like if you want to promote it, it just feels like you kind of have to show your face at this point. But it turns out I actually really like it. So yeah.
I mean, I do wonder that sometimes, because like I'm someone who I always like just put myself out there. I'm just like, hey, like always been like that. And so like when I first started my crochet page, I was like, let's put my face in there. Like let's get right into it.
Yeah.
But like I always wonder about how many accounts there are actually out there who would be in a similar position where they're just like, I don't want to show my face or anything, it makes me feel uncomfortable. And then like they could have such like a bright personality, very bubbly like yourself, and then like really just like grow into, I don't know, an online figure. Like,
no, seriously.
I honestly think about like the missed opportunities like that. I'm like, I know there's more people out there. I know you're out there. Like,
they are out there. No, seriously. And like, I feel like it is also like very healing for me, because like I was like almost like toxically shy. Like I wouldn't like accept so many opportunities that would be good for me and stuff. And so I almost feel like just putting myself out there and really starting my YouTube channel, which I'm sure we'll get to later on. But that was like very good for me because, just like exposed me to like all sorts of opinions and different people, and, like most of it good, little bit like not nice, but yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with like where things are at now though. So I feel like it was worth it.
Yeah. So I started thinking about bad comments just then. You're like, it's mostly positive.
Mostly, yeah. You get a few every once in a while.
I was talking about this yesterday with like, were you sometimes just like, it's not even that they're a bad comment, it's just like, they kind of, like, I guess it's kind of ignorant.
Yeah.
It's like the people, when you make something and they're like, oh, you should have done this. And you're like,
yeah.
Well, I didn't.
Like, I know, and it's like that's the fun of like crochets. It's like there's no should or like whatever. It's like just do what you want, and it's
yeah.
I feel like especially when you're sharing it on YouTube and like people just go like, "Oh, just this is what you should have done," and whatever, but yeah. It can be a challenge.
Yeah, like, I spent hours on that. Like,
I
for you to
know.
come along. It's very much like the people who spend like a year working on making like a brilliant film, and then people walk out of the cinema being like, the book was better.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like,
Right.
that was someone's life. Like, just
No,
went into
I
that
know
film.
exactly. Like, I'm trying to think of like a recent one for me. Like, I made this doily. It's a new pattern that came out, which is like so
The pee pee
amazing.
poo poo one.
Yes, from the Doily Maven,
Stunning.
and I love it. I just gave it to one of my friends, but I posted it on YouTube, and someone was like, "This is so disgraceful to your family," and like all this stuff, and I was just like, it was like an easy one to laugh at, but
Yeah. I don't know. I had Janice on Facebook.
of
She
course,
appeared, she appeared in one of my comments and was just like, "Why do you act like such a dick in all your videos? Can't you just show us your stuff?" And I was like, "This is my brand."
Janice.
Yeah, I was like,
Who even are you,
and I don't mind saying
Janice?
her name because it was a public comment. Get used to the internet.
Janice,
I'm sorry.
get out of
Started
here.
on fire. Don't send hate to
No.
Janice. Anyway.
No, yeah.
Leave her alone. She didn't know what she was saying. She's
Yeah,
confused.
I know that's.
So, anyway, sorry. That was a real tangent.
We're going on all the tangents.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Sorry, I want to go back again. Where you said, so you're a bartender? Was that a recent
Yeah.
thing? Or did you have like another outsidely world job of sorts?
Yeah, I've had a lot. So that was my most recent one that I left. And then now I do this like full time. But before that, I worked for the government for a little bit. I was doing this job when like I thought I wanted to major in business and do all this stuff, which like go figure I didn't want to do. So I kind of left that. It was very stressful and just not fun. And then before that, I was a preschool teacher, and that was probably like my favorite thing just because I got to do like all the lesson planning and decorating the classroom and stuff. Like we'd have these really fun bulletin boards and like all the crafts and everything. So I really liked that. That was probably my favorite.
Was preschool like the idea? Not going to preschool, but teaching at preschool, the idea.
Yeah, so well before that I worked in a restaurant too, and then I started working in the preschool because I was like I want to be a teacher, and now I'm just like I don't think I'd have the patience to do that like long term. And then so I was like, oh, I'm going to do something like businessy related like in the government, and I was like, wow, this is like really boring. And then so I went back to the restaurant, and then now I'm here.
Cute.
Yeah, just all over the place.
I feel like I had a similar kind of background where I wanted
Oh,
to
really?
originally get into language teaching, and I was like all obsessed
Oh,
with foreign languages and everything. And then I worked in government.
what the heck? Oh my gosh.
And then I
we're the
worked in a
same.
restaurant. And then I recently quit it as well to go full time here.
Wow, that's like actually kind of weird. It's like
We're
pretty much
20.
everything. I know. That's so funny.
Do you kind of miss having the part-time job outside of doing this full-time?
Yeah, but it also was like a really busy restaurant. So I know you've been to the US. I don't know if you've seen this restaurant. It's called Texas Roadhouse. And it's just like a steakhouse in the Midwest. And they're really busy. Like they have like a cult following of people that like to go there. So that is my one thing is it was so busy and like overstimulating because another thing that was like drove me up a wall is they make you like sing for everyone's birthday and they have this like horse chair and they make them get on it. And I was just like, like it was truly like I hate it. It gave me such bad anxiety. I'd like pay people to do it for me. I'd be like, I'll give you $5 if you go scream because you had to scream in front of the whole restaurant, which is like not my personality. So sometimes I miss it because it was just fun to like chit chat with people. And like I also really liked making drinks. It kind of reminds me of like crocheting almost because you get to like be a little creative and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really like crocheting, so I'm happy here now.
Crochet and YouTube. It's just like a chill time.
Yeah, it's just like whatever you want it to be, so you can't really beat that.
I feel the same. Like sometimes I feel like it can be like a little isolating because you're just like
Yeah,
in your house talking to a camera, like,
Mhm.
and you're just like hearing your own voice, editing it over and over and over again, and so you're kind of like, how do I
No,
not
for
go
sure.
wild? Like,
I know. And like I know there's so many like crochet creators in my area, but I like haven't gotten to meet any of them yet. So I'm hoping to do something like that soon. Like I know you have like friends in Melbourne, right? Or I'm probably saying
yeah,
that wrong. I feel
no,
like I never
Melbourne,
pronounce it right. Oh, okay.
no, perfect.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I feel like that would help is like me meeting people because I also feel the same way. But I'm just like used to it. I feel like at this point.
Yeah,
So
I think after a while, I'm kind of like, okay. Oh, I mean, you also got like friends around, so
yeah.
I feel like all my evenings being like, let's go do something, please. Like,
I love it. I know, and they
yeah,
seem like very supportive of your like business. And they didn't they help you at like the craft show that you were at? I
yeah,
feel like you had like all your
yeah.
friends there. That was so sweet.
Yeah, they're like, "Do you need any help?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So we made them like little
Yeah.
uniforms, and then I took them out for dinner afterwards to say
Oh
thanks
my
because
gosh. I
I
know. I
could.
was obsessed with the tops. They're so cool.
The
I love
little
that idea.
bunnies.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I see him.
It's a thing. Well, that's yeah. We'll talk
I
about that
love
later
it.
this year. One thing I wanted to ask as well is the Hooks and Healers name because was that because you're making these dog bandanas or was it because Hooks is crochet?
Yeah, so it came before that. It was like the first time around, like in 2020, I think. And I don't know where I came up with it. I think it's because like a lot of times, like my whole like first thing like starting out was I just wanted to have a website and like, have my business that way and like post patterns and that sort of route, which like I do now, but regardless, I think it's like a lot of websites, they kind of have those like sorts of names. I don't know. So that was like my initial thought. And then I think, I have two Australian cattle dogs, which are like also healers, like Bingo and Bluey. We love them. So, but yeah, at the time I only had one. So then I got a second one. So now the plural like actually makes sense because there are two healers. So
Got it.
yeah, that's where it came from, I guess. But yeah, even now I'm like, I get like almost like imposter syndrome about it. I'm like, is this like a good name? Like, does it even make sense? Should I
Oh, it's a
change
great
it?
name.
You think so? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think it's a great name. I often think about it was Curious Papaya who I think
Oh,
actually had like the best idea about naming. She was like the best names are always the ones that are just like a random adjective and a really random fun sounding object. Hence Curious Papaya. I was like,
which I love. I love her name. It's
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, like I mean I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like Curious Papaya, I don't know. Something bunny, courageous bunny. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
I'm thinking
it's
of
just like
one.
something like that. Or even like inked bunny. That's another creator out there.
Oh, is it? I like
Yeah,
that.
she's like a disability advocate and crocheter.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's like I think that's the thing is it's like people ask a lot too, like what do I name my thing? And it's like just too much pressure. It's like just pick something you like and like whatever. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. With the Hooks and Heels brand, what's the intention of like what are you where are you aiming to go? Because you're doing more patterns, you're doing the YouTube, you're
yeah.
doing all sorts.
Yeah, in the beginning, my goal was like just doing patterns, but then I feel like pattern designing is almost like exercising a muscle. Like it's really hard in the beginning to be like, what do I want to design? So I feel like over time it's gotten easier for me to design patterns, and because of that, I'm like picking up the pace a little bit. So in the beginning, I feel like with my Instagram, I was just posting for the sake of posting over there. And as it's kind of grown and stuff, I've definitely focused more in on like pattern designing. And then from there, I created a Patreon. And I love that. It's one of the best things I've done because it helps me like stay accountable to be like, I have to do a pattern every month and like just keeping me like on target, I guess, for my goal. Um, so that's my main focus. And then obviously YouTube. And YouTube is really more just for fun for me. Like I just kind of like to share little bits of my week. But I feel like it almost, it all just kind of like blends together really well because I'm designing the pattern and then in the video we'll talk about the pattern and yeah. So right now it's pattern designing and YouTube I'd say mainly are like my things.
Yeah, because I mean, if you did you start directly into pattern writing, or were you like, I want to make and sell plushies to order? Because I feel like that's like the normal progression is to start with plushies and then go into
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my own
Yeah.
patterns. But you just like right away like I'm gonna
Yeah,
design
so
everything.
I was definitely more interested in designing from the get-go. I think just because like I know myself and like I'm not good at like making custom orders and like, doing all that sort of stuff and like I just get really tired of making the same pattern over and over again. Um so I want to say I signed up for a market like one time in like 2021 or something and then I was like, "Whoa, like I don't have anything." And so I ended up just like pulling out of it. And then yeah, I've been like too scared to do a market since then. But yeah, so I guess I just mainly was most interested in designing and my problem in the beginning is just being like what would I even design? And I think I was just thinking about it too hard because now it's just like I've realized like it's not that serious. It's just kind of like what you want. It's not that deep, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So,
Like sometimes when I'm trying to think of be like what would be the best kind of selling commercial thing, and then other times I'm like,
yeah. Which is so
like,
funny because I'm the same way, and it's like, oh well, people would love to make this for markets or da 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 da. And honestly, like the one time when I was like, I just really want a pigeon pattern, and they're like, none. That's my
yeah,
best selling pattern. So this kind of goes to show, just like do whatever you want, you know?
yeah, I absolutely agree. And like you just want to like make things that you also want to make yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as you start, like this is what I found with me doing commissions. Like other people love commissions,
Mhm.
but for me, I was like having to make someone else's idea and design and then try to like
Yeah.
meet their expectations was one kind of anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
Two, it's a lot of work trying to actually design like and make it look good because you have to like do the reiterations and everything. And I was like,
Yeah.
and then you realize you start like undercharging yourself because of that, and then you're just like, it's
Yeah.
not for
Just
me.
not. I know some people are like really good at it, but yeah, it's like I just don't have the like brain capacity, I feel like, to like do something like that. Like I need like a reward at the end of it, if that makes sense. And like for me, like releasing a pattern is like so worth it. But yeah, it's like I just get so intimidated by, people being like, if I were to do a commission or something, like, oh, I don't like it, or and I like to just make what I like to make, which is the best part of my YouTube channels because literally, like, in a given week, I'll just be like, oh, okay, what do I want to make this week? And then I'll just film it.
And I think it's also good because I think with that, people get to see different projects. Like if we were
Yeah.
all sitting there being like, every single YouTube channel being like, I made a leaky frog and a chunky mushroom and
Yeah.
I don't know, a
Yeah.
popping whatever, like every
Right.
single episode, I'll just be like, is anyone
Be like,
making anything
same.
different? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
the same. Aren't we
You're like,
all?
yeah, I actually just made that too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. So yeah, exactly. I think it's just fun to, just do whatever. And that's kind of just what I do, I guess. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds fun. I'll do it.
Yeah. And then what prompted you to go full time on everything?
I don't know. I just honestly, I think the main thing is I was just having so much fun with it. And I also was like, just in the past few months, I feel like everything on like the business side of what I do is just starting to pick up. And I just like was having a harder time managing it all. And it felt like I was kind of at the place where like it was a good decision, I guess. And so I did that and I definitely don't regret it because it's just so much fun to wake up and make my own schedule and be like, oh, like, do I want to crochet? Do I want to film a YouTube video? Do I want to go live? Which I started doing because of you, because I love watching your lives. But
Thank you.
yeah, they're the best. So yeah, I forget what question you
Cute.
asked me. So I'm like
I just
rambling.
asked you were just going full time. I was
Yeah.
interested. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's just yeah, it's really fun to like my main thing too is like I just love designing patterns and like seeing how they're received by like my friends in the community and stuff like that. And it's like very addicting. So I just figured, I might as well just keep going with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm much the same, and like
Yeah.
I had this like one memory in the back of my head, and it was just like a one sentence that my friend like scarred into my brain. and he was like, how you spend your days is how you spend your life. And
Mhm.
like from that moment, that was back in New Zealand. That was like probably 2017 when he said that to me, and that just like stuck in there. And so
Yeah.
like over this time of like starting Crochet Me Zaddy and getting to where I am now, I'm just like, I need to get to the full-time position where I get to spend my days having fun. Like
Yeah.
that is my goal, is to have a good time every day.
I know. And you deserve to have fun. I mean, like, gosh, I feel like even from the beginning, like when I really started getting like into posting and all that stuff, like your content was such an inspiration to me. Like, I feel like you do such a good job. You deserve to have fun. So
It's because we're the same person. We've like
I know.
come from the same
Well, that's a
background, doing the
compliment.
same things. I don't know how to
Yeah.
respond to that, but thank you.
Thanks, I guess.
So yeah, it's
Oh my gosh.
always, yeah. I think just going full time has been just an interesting jump,
Yeah.
personally.
No, because it's very stressful. Like I remember just being like, "Do I really want to do this?" And talking to Ryan, my husband, he's like, "No, like you should." And like I'm very grateful. Like he's so supportive of me and stuff. But yeah, I definitely went back and forth a few times just because it is very scary. And it's like, I feel like just with the way the internet is, like you see people come in and go out, and like there's so many people I've watched on YouTube and stuff, and like yeah, I don't know. It's just constantly evolving, and it's like scary. But I guess like, even my favorite YouTubers talk about that who are doing fine. So,
Yeah, I think also,
yeah.
yeah, with the burn, we can talk about that in the next part as well. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely watching other YouTubers out there and seeing how they're kind of handling everything and carrying on. Like, you kind
Yeah.
of get it, but also I feel like, actually, we'll talk about this in the next one. It's kind of like how relatable the crochet YouTubers seem to be, like
Yeah. I know, I feel like there's
compared to
not
others.
many not many communities where I feel like, creators like get to interact with like, their audience quite as much. Like I love just watching people on YouTube and like supporting them and stuff. But that's something I
Yeah,
feel like is really special about the crochet community is like it just feels like everyone's kind of like friends. So that's why I love it.
yeah, yeah. Like we're
Yeah.
all just kind of hanging out, and like I always say this in all my videos and stuff. Like I'm so grateful to everyone, especially on YouTube and on
Yeah.
Patreon, because without those two, I wouldn't be able to do this full time. Like
Yeah.
that was a move that I made just about a year ago. Everything I've done on all the other platforms like does not earn me any money or anything
Yeah.
like that. Like just because I'm in Australia, so I don't get paid. But then
Really? On TikTok, they don't?
I don't get, I've never got paid on TikTok nor on Instagram.
Oh my gosh, I don't make anything
Support
on
your Australian
Instagram.
creators, everyone. We get nothing.
Go buy his patterns.
Yeah, I know. But no, that's the thing. It's like, so on those social medias, I get absolutely nothing. But then because I've now
Wow.
gone on YouTube and Patreon, I've been like, oh my god, I'm actually getting like a community who some have followed me for such a long time and now
Yeah.
supporting me monetarily, which is
Mm. I
phenomenal. And also
know.
like
So nice.
I'm still very imposter Germany. Like,
Yeah. No, I
which
totally relate to that. Like, even just like with my Patreon, I'm like, oh, like, are you guys sure? Like, you want to like do this? Like,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah,
everyone's like,
it's
yeah, we need
hard.
help. You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
But gosh, I mean, like, I know. I feel like there is a lot of like growing for me that's come out of it where it's like, oh, okay, like, it is just a weird thing, but at the end of the day, it's like learning to just be proud of your art and stuff. And it's like at the end of the day, like you're making something really cool, like my chameleon. I would have never made my chameleon if you didn't come up with that, you know?
Thank you. Anyway, let's wrap up this episode here
Yeah.
because we have a lot to talk about going into YouTube and everything around that community as well.
Yes, I'm
So
excited.
thank you for joining on this episode, and let's go jump over to the next.
Bye. See you
Bye,
there.
everyone. Bye. Thank you for listening in to another episode of The Hookup. We'll be back again next week for more crafty conversations with more crafty friends. Have a good day. Bye.